This is the Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall.
Let's go nuts! It's Jimmy Nuts! Right out of the door!
With your hosts, Mark Martinez.
Because I'm the Mark and I'm awesome!
The Guru.
Today I'm going to break it down for all you simpleton sweat hogs listening out there in Can Crusher Nation. I don't mean to come out here week after week and toot my own horn, but toot.
And the English Professor.
It is I, the English professor from the County of Kings, speaking the English of the Queen.
Hey, this is former WWE superstar Duke the Dumpster Drosy, and you are listening to the Can Crushers Podcast.
And thank you for returning to another Can Crushers. I am your host, Mark the Mark Martinez, and joining me this week in his humble abode is the English professor and classy Freddie Blassie. Wait, what is he hanging around at your house for?
It's my LJN. Actually, I say it's my LJN. I'll explain why I have him in a second. Does he look familiar to you, Mark?
He does.
Do you know why?
I traded him for...
You did?
I forgot who I got back in return, but that was one of the times that I knew I could get another one from Widman's, and I ran right over. Instead of you saying, and me saying, John, they have Freddie Blassie at Widman's, I had a shyster you of... Do you remember who I got?
Mr. Fuji.
Oh.
And then I just went to Widman's and bought a Mr. Fuji.
Did I get Fuji's cane? Because I know you had lost 6 of them by then.
That's a good question. I don't know.
You clearly got Blassie's cane.
Yeah.
I was better with my accessories than you. Always been.
Yeah. Oh, but the reason I have him with me today is Cheryl made pancakes for breakfast. And I made pizza for dinner. So if you wonder what the hell that has to do with Fred Blassie, if you've ever seen My Breakfast with Blassie, a 1983 film with Andy Kaufman, it was sort of a spoof on, the hell was that movie, My Dinner with Andre or something like that? It had Andre the Giant in it.
I thought you were going to say breakfast at Tiffany's.
No. But he goes to a diner with Fred Blassie. And he says, what are you going to get to eat? He's like, oh, I don't know. I don't like to eat a lot of dough. So he asked, do you want pancakes? No, I don't like a lot of dough. They have waffles. No, don't like a lot of dough, Andy. Oh, maybe an English muffin. Like everything you mentioned, because it's Andy Kaufman.
Right.
Was dough. So I tried explaining that to Cheryl. She didn't find it as interesting as you and I do. And she's probably annoyed that yet another wrestling figure has made its way up from the basement.
Right, and it'll end up somewhere, probably in the kitchen for a while, because he doesn't like dough.
Yeah, right. Yeah. At some point, I'll get him back in the basement, but it may be next weekend before that happens.
I bet you it's longer than that.
Yeah, it's probably longer.
I bet you it'll make its way to your bedroom before it makes it downstairs with the rest of your figures, is what I'm saying, you weirdo.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I knew what you meant. Yeah.
Right.
All my autographed stuff up there. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what a week, huh?
So, Fred Blassie's here, but who's not here? Obviously, if the listeners haven't figured it out by now.
Yeah, the glorious Guru his son had a prior engagement that went a little long. And he's just having fun. Little Vinny's having fun, and Chad's like, hey, do you mind? And I'm like, no, without a doubt. You can't take the fun out of a child. You know, this is us. We can bounce back. He can give us our thoughts next week from last week, and but the Guru's taking a week off to hang with the little guy, and I think it was a bowling party, so I'm kind of jealous. Well, I'm jealous of anything right now, but yeah.
Yeah. I haven't been bowling in a while. I like bowling.
I do like bowling. Yeah. I like we never had the bumpers when we were kids. We either sucked or we actually were good. And now they bring this thing out that you can just put it on it and the ball shoots down it. Yeah. I'd still use the bumpers to this day at 43. I'd love to use the bumpers.
I know. It's embarrassing, though.
It's not to me.
I'd be embarrassed.
I'd like to get one perfect game in my life. One.
Holy cow! I don't know how many there have been.
A lot. Rich Quiggle.
Like,
Rich Quiggle bowled a 300 one time, I think.
are you serious?
Yeah, you know Rich Quiggle and his wife.
Yeah, I know Rich. Yeah, absolutely. I went to college with his wife. Yeah.
Yeah, and I do broadcasting with him on local radio station. So yeah,
Wow.
he's a hell of a bowler. Yeah, I'm sure he's gonna be shocked that he made a wrestling podcast, but who knows? All right, before we get to wrestling, guys, if you listened last week, I was getting sick. If you listened or not on Wednesday, I'll fill you in real quick about everything going on and then where I am. This is John's time to take a drink of water and kind of relax. Last week I was sick. I was really sick. High temperature, this, that, and the other thing. Didn't go to work Sunday. It was really bad. Scheduled a COVID test. It happened on Tuesday, which means I didn't go to work as well on Monday. Had the COVID test. I had John Moxley's barbed wire baseball bat shoved up my nose, so it hurt like a son of a bitch. But after Tuesday, I started bouncing back. I did. But I did get the notification Friday that I am positive. So I am in my bubble for another week. The 21st, I'm allowed out of my bubble. The family's healthy, so they're away from me. I'm living in the living room. One has their bedroom. One has my bedroom. The dog makes his way in and out because he can't get the coronavirus and he can't spread it. So he's at least my buddy once in a while. The downfall is, you guys didn't know this. If you didn't listen to the spotlight, I now have no smell or taste. My temp has kind of plateaued. I'm all right. I have a headache still. Bathroom's fine and everything, but no smell or taste. So, John, like I said, I'm on the bounce back. I think I'm on the upswing. So I thought, you know what? We're going to try this out today. I have in front of me a Southern Tiers Cider Works unfiltered apple beer. I already popped it open. Took a couple guzzles. I can't even taste the carbonation. This is straight water in my gullet. Straight alcoholic water in my gullet. I don't know. We were off air, and your wife came over and said she knows some people have COVID via social media that are outright eating onions, just like an apple, because they're crunchy. I need to try that. I need to. Why not?
That'd be an interesting experiment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but guys, I am on the upswing. Really, really. I feel most of it's behind me. I've had it for a week now, and then like the next coming week is just refreshing. I nap a lot, but I don't even know if that's because of COVID or I'm in two rooms. I'm either in the podcast playing video games, or I'm in the studio. Or I'm in the living room watching TV. That's it.
I've talked to you pretty often, if not every day, pretty close to it. This is the best I've heard you in the last few days. So that's a positive sign.
Right.
I suppose. I don't know anything about this. Not many people know much about what the heck's going on these days. But at least you look and sound better than I've seen you the last few days.
I have a hat on because my hair it looks like Kramer from Seinfeld. I need to actually get that cut, but, Kelly doesn't want to cut my hair right now. I need to spruce myself up a little bit. Thank God this isn't video because I'm a little haggard in the face, but that's tomorrow's venture, to spruce myself up a little bit, get off this shtick of being homely.
Yeah.
So, other than that, I do sound good. I'm bouncing back, and we're going to kick this in the nuts.
Absolutely. Heck yeah.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Give me a hell yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
All right. On that note, let's cover some WWE.
All right.
You want to cover some WWE, and we'll go Monday to Friday. Boom, just like that.
Okay. So just the main brands you're saying, right? We'll do NXT separately. Is that the idea?
Yeah, that's the idea. Clearly. Come on. And there's some random things I'm going to throw in after we talk about Raw and SmackDown. There's some stuff in the news that I'm going to bring up to you as well. Two big things that I want to, get your opinion on. But what do you remember from Raw?
I thought both programs were okay. There just isn't anything about either show. Well, we'll start with Raw. There wasn't anything about Raw that really gets me excited. It reminds me of an interview I saw on my Four Horsemen DVD where Tully Blanchard talks about how they tried to get the Horsemen's legs kicking a little bit, and every time they tried to bring it back, but it never quite had the same. You never got the same feeling as you did with the original group. That's how I feel when I watch Raw. Like you can kind of see them, the wheels turning maybe, or the legs are kicking. But there's just nothing that excites me. Like, I like the 6-man tag team match at the end with Drew McIntyre and the New Day against Randy Orton, Miz, and Morrison. I like that whole story of what was going on with Randy not wanting to tag in when Drew McIntyre was in the ring. We've discussed this plenty of times how much I love tag team wrestling and how much I love the big guys just bumping the little guys around. I loved how Drew McIntyre beat up Miz and Morrison. That was a lot of fun.
Easily.
Yeah. And begged Randy Orton to come in, and then Randy just threw his belt over his shoulder and said, I'm out of here. Good stuff.
I liked the, and I say like because it can't go any higher than this. I liked the Asuka and Nia match. Yeah, there were a few hiccups, but I liked it. The downfall is it was just to put Lana through a table again.
Yeah, I don't know why she still has a job. I feel like we say this, if not every week, every other week. I don't know why Lana has a job there.
I like the segment with Drew and Sheamus about being old buddies, drinking buddies, and I like that. Just they cross paths. Yeah, they cross paths, and he's like, "Hey, if I get the title back, you can get a shot, man. We're drinking buddies. Let's go have a brew." Or he didn't say brew. What the hell did they say? But yeah, something like that. I like that. The worst part. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say that's probably the closest WWE will get to really acknowledging the indies. Now, I don't know if they came up together, but they gave that sense, right?
Yeah.
They gave the sense of coming up together through the indies. That was pretty cool. Do more of that. Like that's what sucks the nerds like us in, you know?
Yeah, exactly. We love that. The
worst part you were going to say.
The worst part. 7-way match for the 24/7 championship.
Oh, God.
And I was a glutton for punishment. So I watched it instead of skipping through it. Tozawa wins quickly. Loses it to Eric. Loses it to Gulak. Loses it to Tucker. Loses it to Gulak. Back to Tucker. Then Metalik. Then Dorado. Then R-Truth, who finally runs away. And this is all within 5 minutes. And the other 5 people, when these pins are happening, aren't doing a damn thing.
Yeah.
They're just your favorite match. They're taking a nap outside.
Yep. It's what I hate most, this type of match. And it featured, I was thinking this week, which wrestler do I hate more than anybody? And on Friday night, I think I said it was Otis. And then my son reminded me of R-Truth, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's tough. Good point. I can't stand it anymore." Where does it go? Like, there's just nothing on which to build. There's nowhere to go from here. Every week, you're telling us the same story without building anything. He's going to lose it 20 times and win it 21 times.
At least the hardcore title had a storyline with it. After it got off of Mick Foley and then it went to Blackman and Bob Holly and all those guys, they still tried to tell somewhat of a story with it. Have it be this big, and John can't see he's the only one who can see there's like a half an inch in between my fingers. There was at least some. This is just R-Truth lose it. Why did he lose it last week and he didn't have it for a whole week? That's the shtick of the whole thing is he gets it back every week no matter what, tried and true. What is he now, 49? This is just a smack in the face to any title.
It is. It really is. And, you mentioned the hardcore title. The name of the title tells you, and I guess 24/7 tells you it's up for grabs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But you were the champion of something. You were the champion of the hardcore style match. You know? Like the high stakes championship in IWC. You know what that means.
Right.
The champion can choose the stipulation. You know? And we've seen RC Dupree with some high stakes title defenses where he's had no championship advantage the last two title defenses. Not to go off on that tangent, but there's a story behind the belt. This is just an opportunity for Vince McMahon to laugh at our truth.
Yeah. Good point. All right. That's Raw in a nutshell. Let's switch over to SmackDown.
Riddle. I just want to mention Riddle.
I hate him, and you love him.
Why? Why he was Matt. He was Matt Riddle. The name makes sense. Why is he just Riddle now? It's like Buddy Murphy is Murphy.
Well, Andrade.
Yeah. Yep. I don't get why they do that. I'll never get why they do that.
I mean, that's his legit name. Why are they taking Matt away from it?
I don't know.
Yeah. More stupid things to come about that whole thing. Switching over to SmackDown now. I liked, and I still like, the Roman and Drew and Uso. Oh, not Drew, I just ruined it. The Roman and, whoever he's fighting and Uso, and I love all that. And Drew makes his way down, and Uso makes his way down, and a spat happens between two people we didn't think.
Yeah. This was a nice twist. I mean, obviously we know it's one company. They've done a decent job of keeping the brand separate lately. So when Drew McIntyre showed up, I thought that was pretty cool. And he had a warning from Roman Reigns that he was coming for, because one thing we didn't mention about Raw is Drew McIntyre has a title shot. As a former champion, he's going to be taking on Randy Orton, the man who beat him, next week. And should Drew McIntyre win, he will step into the Survivor Series champion versus champion match. So he came out to confront Roman Reigns and tell him to get ready to face him. And then Jey Uso hauls ass down to the ring. He's like, yo, I got this, Uso. And, he's telling Drew McIntyre, who told you, stupid ass, you can come here. This man's the boss. You only show up if he tells you. So you think like, oh, he's doing his boss's bidding. But Roman he flipped out backstage. He lost his mind on him. Like, I have everything under control. I am in charge. I don't need you to fight my fights for me. But then what does he do? He sends him out
to fight his fight.
To fight his fight. Yeah, later in the evening.
I like that there was no special Raw trade for a night or flippity flop rule 2020 or COVID this, that, or the other. Drew's like, I was just passing through town and thought I'd stop and see what SmackDown's about. That was it.
Yep. Love it.
That was it. I did like, I don't know if you said it, we can lump all of this together as it ends up being the main event, Drew against Uso. We'll skip around on this. I like Roman saying, hey, nobody watches Raw. What? Vince actually letting that come out of his mouth kind of shocked me. I'm like, oh my God, he actually said that. I don't know if that's actually Vince knows it. Nobody watches Raw.
I think he's got his finger on that. I do. I think Vince McMahon is aware. I don't think a word is said.
I know.
Without his approval.
I know.
But no, I was hoping. You raise an interesting point, and it got me thinking. But when wrestling was at its best, you look at the Attitude Era, the mid-'90s, they were pulling back the curtain a little bit. They were showing us some things. They were saying what everybody knew anyway. Like, they were addressing the elephant in the room.
Right.
Raw's ratings have sucked, so they bring that up now in a storyline, and they get marks like us to go, oh!
Yeah. So what'd you think of the match? It's what we thought. It's an unsanctioned match, first of all. Roman gets involved, but Drew ends up winning. And then he gets pummeled for a second.
Yeah, I like the finish. It's a Claymore kick, but it was just more of Jey Uso being, the cartoon with the little puppy chasing the big dog around, and the big dog.
Yeah,
the big dog, right? Roman Reigns, the big dog. and the big dog keeps smacking him aside. Jay wrestled that match like he was so excited to be helping out his big cousin. And just at one point, he turned to Roman Reigns for approval. And when he turned back around, pow! Kicked right in the teeth and knocked out.
Match I want to talk about because there was a debut was Nat, Tamina, and Liv. Whoever wins makes it on the Survivor Series team. I'm not a fan of any or all of the Survivor Series teams, by the way, and we'll talk about that next week. But it gets a fourth person gets added, and it's Chelsea Green. IWC alum Chelsea Green, one of Britt Baker's best friends. Let me get all that in. You can see Chelsea on the IWC network for only $9.99 against Britt Baker. All right, enough of that, Mark. But I thought this is a good spot for her. Who did you think? Nat? John, we'll let you say your Nat thing because I completely agree with you. Tamina's not, right. Tamina. And Liv is still kind of on the upswing. I thought, wow, a debuting Chelsea Green, she's going to get put on the Survivor Series match, and this is her coming out party. I'm all for this because I'm a big fan of Chelsea from Shimmer and Rise and IWC and all of that. And then, boom, she's missing from the match.
Yeah.
Doesn't get the win, not part of it. Well, she goes missing from the match because on the drop kick or something, she fell and she broke her arm. So now...
Oh, I didn't know that.
So, yeah, I just posted it yesterday. So now Chelsea's actually going to be off TV for a while again because she broke her arm on her debut at SmackDown. Which sucks. Which sucks.
That's too bad.
So, yeah, because I love the way she works. I really do. I think she's a good worker.
I wonder if she was booked to win that then, because it just seems like if you announce this mystery person, then that's the person that comes in and wins. But, yeah, you'd mentioned Natalya and what I wanted to say about her. I've been a fan of hers for a while. I know we've mentioned on the show, we met the Anvil. We talked about his daughter. She's missing a step, and I don't know what it is. In the ring. And what do we know? I don't know if it's the opponents not doing what they need to do or being where they need to be, but she seems to me like she's missing a step.
Like she doesn't have it anymore. I'll say it.
Yeah,
she doesn't.
Yeah.
And it's not the storyline because, all right, the storyline is that she's trying these triple threat matches. Okay, we all understand she's going to get the last spot on the team. That's my thoughts of this. She's going to get the last spot on the team. Or she's going to beat somebody up to take over a spot because she's the only woman left on the SmackDown roster can do it. Whatever. She's going to end up at Survivor Series on the team. But she just, there's just something that's not clicking with her right now. And I don't know if it's time for her to be a trainer or, you know, not beat in the spotlight more because she's been the number one kind of dog besides Sasha and Bayley on SmackDown.
Yeah. You know, the program she had with Ruby Riott there for a while was a hot topic. Like she had just lost her dad, and they're using that as a story. Right or wrong, that's hot wrestling television. Yeah, that was fun to watch. I love the cat lady. I did. I liked it when she was the cat lady.
I didn't. You like cats though, that's why.
I do love cats. Yeah, but the ring work was always good. Lately, I'm just seeing a little stutter step or hiccup or something. Just time catches up to us all, I guess. And maybe that's the case with her. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it almost is like her heart isn't in it.
That's well said. That's well said. Finally, because I know you don't want to talk about the Mysterio thing, but Sasha comes out, talks to her for a little bit. Bayley kind of interrupts her, and then Mella out of nowhere lays Sasha out. I'm excited for the Sasha and Mella somewhat feud. I don't see Mella taking it from Sasha yet because she's just returning, but it puts Mella right in the limelight off the bat, and I think she's good enough to be in the limelight.
Yeah, I agree. It'll be a good program. Just like you said, I don't see Sasha losing her belt. I think this is, I hate to say stepping stone, but maybe a roadblock for Sasha, but she'll get over that hump and continue to defend her belt. I think I think she has that belt I shouldn't say belt if we're talking about WWE. I'm sorry. She had that title. Oh, sorry. When we get to WrestleMania. For all the times she's won it and lost it right away, I think she has a bit of a reign.
Yeah. And do we get a big rematch with Bayley? Or because I don't think Becky's back yet for WrestleMania. You know, she's slotted, I was going to say. She's due to have the baby in February. I mean, it's going to be close to...
She's slotted.
Yeah, she's slotted to have the baby in February. No, she's due to have the baby, I believe, in February. So I rush her back for WrestleMania. Charlotte was already drafted to Raw. So Is there a big name besides Bayley you want to see Sasha against? I mean, we have some time to build something, but nothing's intriguing right now.
I agree. There's nothing intriguing. You have time to build something, as you said, but where do you get that person? Like, the two best on that brand are the two that are feuding for that title.
Right.
Yesterday, today, and tomorrow. For the foreseeable future. I don't see by December, January, February, March, 4 or 5 months from now, anybody. This is WrestleMania. Again, I just want to reiterate that. You know, you're expecting the best of the best. What better match could there be than those two for that title?
Right.
So I'd be all right with a rematch. They can rematch as often as they want.
I agree.
The chemistry between them is incredible.
I agree. Anything else you want to talk about WWE in your watch? Because I have two things to bring up that I want to get your opinion on that I'm pretty sure you didn't see.
Okay. The only thing I want to mention was Ray lost his eye patch, and then we see his eye recovered quickly. It looks fine.
It looks great. It looks just like Penta's and Ray Phoenix's, which we'll talk about in a little bit.
Yeah.
It looks great. All right, in the WWE news, since Chad isn't here to bring us the WWE news, we're going to throw it out there right now. Earlier in the week, and this is twofold question. There were some releases. One, the announcer Tony Chimmel, and a lot of the travel people, because it is now for the foreseeable future and possibly forever, WWE releases no more house shows.
Yeah.
We kind of figured that by now. That you see AEW running with it, doing well. Why not steal something from them, take a book out of their page, a page out of their book, I mean, and do the same thing to keep people healthy? I think it's smart.
Yeah, it's good and bad, and we've discussed the good and the bad. As a fan, house shows were so much fun. You knew nothing was going to happen. You know, by the time we started watching wrestling, you knew nothing was going to happen on a house show, a title change or anything like that. They fooled us in St. Mary's, Pennsylvania. We were sure the Steiner brothers won the tag team title. The place erupted, and the wrong guy pinned, Rick and whatever. The belts went back to the Quebecers. House shows can be fun from the standpoint of the wrestlers. Whatever it is you do in life, I think you should want better for the next generation. And I think, what the previous generations endured on the road, these men and women don't have to now. If they can make more money and work less, then why not? Why not? They can deliver the better matches on TV because they're not worn out from wrestling 9 or 10 times a week.
Right.
On the road. But, another downside of that is, obviously I know he's not with us anymore, but like a George the Animal Steele, you don't need that road agent anymore. You don't need a Pat Patterson anymore. All those guys that went to the different arenas and reported back to Vince, they're not really needed, I guess, are they? So that costs jobs.
Right. Looking at it as a fan and not a worker, kind of, I think it only helps the indie organizations, our local ones, IWC, Imagine, which one did I just miss? OVW, of course. Why am I missing one more local one?
Big Time?
I tagged them all.
Not local,
I'm an idiot, but you get to go to this indie organization where, 9 times out of 10, if it's a one-off like Big Time, you're going to get a couple legends coming in or something. Or IWC, they bring some legends in a couple times a year, or you get hooked to their storylines. You get to see the Man Dimes and the Britt Bakers and the Wardlows and, the DJ Zs before they're Joaquin Wild. You really get to see great wrestling from indies. So I'm all right with no house shows because I'm a huge supporter, as are you and a lot of other wrestling fans, John, that it gives indie more time to shine.
Yeah. Yep, that's well said.
Secondly, I want to bring up, did you see that Zelina Vega has also been released? That was Friday. She is one very strong person with the whole Twitch movement and social media, and Vince wants to shut everybody's down and have WWE own them. Zelina Vega is not giving her stuff up, and then she also said she is one that she wants to unionize. And it was almost an hour later that Zelina Vega then got her release saying, because Vince doesn't want to unionize.
You can't fire. I mean, you can't fire somebody for that. I'm
not saying.
Of course, that's not the reason he's going to give.
Right.
But.
And then in the same aspect, then, John, her husband, Aleister Black, then comes out and says, I want to go back to NXT. And he was denied.
Man.
So, you see, when contracts are up, you could see probably Aleister Black moving along somewhere because he doesn't like what's going on. You probably stay with your wife. If my wife supports something, I'm probably going to stay with her, as you are too, right?
Sure.
Happy home, happy life, right? Because it's not happy wife, happy life. We have to be happy too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I always liked her. I thought she was a great spokesperson for whomever she managed. In the ring, she was okay. I loved her attitude, but you're right. As far as it's funny you mentioned Vince. More on that later, and you'll see why. But you mentioned her social media. She's quite an online presence. Just Google her.
Yeah.
She's trying to create a brand. She's
big into cosplay. She's into all of that. Yeah. And that's what everybody, I'm looking at, AJ Styles. He still does a Twitch that he doesn't want to let go. Or look at Paige, that still under WWE contract, but that's all she can really do. She's not going to get back in the ring. The wrestling show that she was on with Renee Young on Fox, whatever the hell it was called that we forgot by now, gone. So she has nothing to do with WWE, but just kind of, and I'm saying this wrong, hold out her injury deal because she was hurt at work. So they're going to pay her until she becomes a legend and give her a Legends contract. Whatever, however that's going to work. She still needs to do something with her life. She doesn't want to just sit home and play Hunter Call of the Wild and, be fine.
Yeah, I don't understand that, but that's her prerogative.
Oh, you just sit home? Yeah, but you're building your brand. She still wants to be relevant enough that, I'd love to go meet Paige, and, I have Sonya Deville and Mandy, 16 by 20 when they were all Absolution. I'd love to meet Paige to get her to sign that photo too. So I'm hoping that, Paige disconnects with the WWE and starts doing shows so I can get that signed.
When Ric Flair and Eric Bischoff were at odds, Ric Flair's lawyer told him, just stay home. You're getting paid to stay home. And Ric was like, nah, I can't do that. I miss the fans. I'd be like, dude.
It's in their blood, dude.
I'd play with my wrestlers. I'd play video games. I'd watch movies. You kidding me?
That's what I did last week, and that's what I'm going to do this week. Video games, and I'm wearing collar and elbow shirts all freaking week. Right?
Nice. Yeah. Why not? Yeah, because they're comfy. You're stuck at home.
Right. That and a pair of shorts. I don't have collar and elbow shorts yet. But I should get to collarandelbow.com and order them because they have hats, hoodies, tees, shorts, stickers, and all that, right?
Yes, they do. And we have a promo code that can help our listeners save some money. If you go to collarandelbow.com, when you're done placing your order, put in the promo code CANCRUSHERS. Capital C for can, capital C for in Crushers. It's all one word, Can Crushers. And Mark, how much will they save if they do that?
10%. You get 10% off your entire order. It's not just one item, it's the entire order, and John's stingy, so it pretty much means you get free shipping. More or less.
That's right. Yeah.
So, they did release one shirt. I don't know if it was Friday or Saturday, but it is CWO. So, I saw that, and I really didn't look into it. I just saw that they released a CWO shirt. I think it's the Mexican NWO.
Okay.
Yeah. But of course it says collar and elbow and everything around it. So, yeah. With the red lettering.
Nice.
So, yeah. So that's one shirt that's out. I don't think that's part of their fall or winter collection, but nonetheless. All right, so here comes Al Snow, and then we'll be back to cover AEW and NXT, both kind of like okay shows. Nothing really, besides some releases, not a lot happening in wrestling this week, huh, John?
No, they were both, like you say, just okay shows.
All right, we'll be right back.
Wrestling. A love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand. The wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. Two entities working together to create a product that connect emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
Hello, everyone. This is the rock god Ricky Gibson from 4 Minutes of Heat, and you are listening to the greatest podcast in professional wrestling, Can Crushers.
And welcome back to Can Crushers. It is I, the English professor, joined by your host, Mark Martinez. We are going to discuss NXT and AEW. Which will we discuss first, though? Why don't we spin the wheel and see where it lands? And it is NXT. What a coincidence.
Wow, that's the way they started too, Johnny.
Yeah.
And Johnny was actually the one that started it.
And he's got an Italian last name, Gargano.
Oh my goodness.
All the coincidences.
Update, guys. I poured a half a beer out. You know how beer's heavier than water? I like the taste of beer. I switched back to Gatorade. I just couldn't do it. It was my first beer to try. I couldn't taste it. It just wasn't good. So, all right, NXT. Gargano he brings out this little wheel. And at first, John, I didn't think it was gimmicked. I thought, oh my God. Oh, wait, never mind. There's a piece of tape on one of it. So I'm like, I wonder who it's going to end up on. And it ends up on Leon Ruff. Do you know who this guy is?
I do not. Should I know?
No. I was hoping you could tell me something.
No.
I have no clue who this guy is.
I was going to ask you that.
None. What did you think of him?
He's really skinny, is what my son said. Not my style at all. Just not my style. I'm sure he's a nice guy. So this was going to be a title defense for the North American Championship. Johnny Gargano's held both of the big two titles.
Yep.
And lost them both immediately.
Quickly.
So now, he said he was cursed, and that was about to change. He was going to reverse the curse. I hated this match. I hate how it ended. I can't believe he lost the belt. Sometimes, as we have said, the twists and turns are okay and the surprises are nice. Sometimes just stick to the basics. Let this guy come out, pull off a few flashy moves, and then get pinned by the champion. That's the point, right? I mean, you kind of told us the same story with Sasha, that she could never defend the belt. Now she'll probably have a reasonable title reign. I can't believe he lost his belt already. That's one. For me, there aren't a lot of promotions out there, at least that we watch, where belts mean much of anything anymore.
Not at all.
NXT was one of those brands where belts meant something. The fact that they took it off of Johnny Gargano in his first title defense to put on Leon Ruff, I don't know what they're doing. To me, that cheapens it a bit. I hated this guy. I hated him. I hated the go behind into the victory roll that wasn't, and then he just rolls backwards. Make me believe you're trying to roll him up. Make me believe that.
I like the crucifix at the end. That looks solid. You didn't like this? No?
Was this the match with the springboard DDT on the ropes?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, why a cartwheel?
No.
That wasn't this.
That was, and I'm going to bitch about that. That's...
Okay, I'll save my complaints.
Yeah. Damian Priest was just in the crowd. He did nothing in the match. It just... I understand, okay, Priest and Gargano can have a feud over a styrofoam cup, and I'll watch it. Why did the title need to be off of Gargano onto this rough guy? Is what I completely agree. How long is this guy going to be champ? Is he going to lose? He clearly's gotta lose at his first defense to hopefully somebody under a mask, and then it ends up being Gargano or whatever. I don't care. It really was a shocker though. It was a shocker that he won, and then Priest just gives him his car and says, "Get out of here," and then that pretty much writes off Ruff from the whole storyline, and now it's Priest against Gargano again.
Yeah, like what kind of champion is that? He was going to be interviewed. And he's like, "No, dude, get out of here. If he comes back here and sees you, he's going to kick your ass." So he runs. Like, you're brave enough to fight him in the ring. Why are you going to run from him now?
Right.
That didn't make any sense.
Right. Next matchup was Santos against Jake Atlas, and this is where we both want to talk about. I love this match. I did. Until Jake Atlas, why do you have to do a cartwheel to get into a DDT? Just do the effing DDT.
I know.
I'm glad you lost, Jake Atlas.
Yeah. I hated that. It's just, it's like Jake Atlas is so 2018. You know what I mean? Like,
that's so 2017, the way you said it.
Flips for the sake of flipping. A cartwheel on the top rope is incredible agility. I'll give him that. You're in the middle of a fight. Why are you doing a cartwheel on the top rope? I hated it.
Yeah. I'm glad Santos kept it though. I like those guys. I love those guys. I want to know, he's getting in WWE, which owns NXT. He's getting long time credibility, so he's got to lose that title soon, because you don't hold titles this long. You see a couple here and there, but Santos has had it for a while. Who's going to come up? Who's he going to lose it against? And we're both going to be pissed because it's somebody not going to be formidable, I believe.
So this is it with Jake Atlas, you think?
I don't know.
He's been taking a pipe to these guys like on the regular.
Right, but then he loses this match because he does a fucking cartwheel. So it's got to end it for him, right?
I would think, yeah.
Shotzi sending messages to Candice. What did you think of this? As we'll loop in the match as well that has something to do with this. Shotzi's just pissed off at Candice, and then we have a match later on that is Toni Storm against Candice LeRae. Nice match, but at the end, and I'll let you talk about the match, at the end, the Scream person comes out, and Shotzi tries to help, and it ends up being Indy Hartwell, and it just didn't seem to have the pop. And I'll tell you why here in a second once we talk about that match. What did you think about the Toni Storm match? I love Toni Storm.
I love Toni Storm, too. I think she's a great athlete. Match could have gone either way. I would have been okay with either woman winning. The unmasking goes back to what Johnny Gargano was saying. Like, hey, have you noticed, Candice, how much she's helped you? Like, I guess in the Battle Royal, Candice LeRae almost got eliminated. Indy pulled her back in. Then what the hell did she need to wear a mask all this time for? Why not just say, yeah, she's my friend and I like her and I want her to do well, so I'm with her. I don't get why she was under a mask this entire time.
This was supposed to take place, the unveiling was supposed to take place at Halloween Havoc. Thus the Scream mask, kind of a little spooky thing and everything. But Indy Hartwell was one of the NXT superstars that possibly had the coronavirus. So she got put on the shelf for a little bit, and then they just brought this back. It just didn't have the flair. If it would have happened at Halloween Havoc when it was fresh and hot, okay, but this is the first time returning since then in about, three weeks, I believe. It just didn't, people kind of forgot. So it was kind of lackluster, and she was getting ready to take her mask off, and Candice was like, yeah, take your mask off. So she knew it was Indy already.
Right.
You wouldn't say that to, if somebody attacks, me and you were in a match, somebody comes and attacks you, I'd kind of be like standoffish, wondering, all right, yeah, they beat my opponent down, but what the hell is going to happen? Right. I'm not going to look at, I don't know, any one of our jackass friends, Chad or Pat or Colin, and say, hey, take your mask off. Because then I know who it is.
Right. So you're saying the person in the truck then was supposed to be, like with the mask on, was supposed to be Indy, but probably was not her?
Right.
Oh, so this is like, do you think it was Ole Anderson or Al Perez or one of the old Black Scorpions?
It possibly could have been Fabulous
Moolah.
Moolah.
It could have. We don't know, right?
Right. Any of them.
Could have been the Spider Lady, yeah.
Who the hell knows? Reverse.
I love Tony Storm. I do. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I love Tony Storm from the first ever Mae Young Classic. I fell in love with her then, and I was kind of bummed that it makes sense that she went over to UK for a while, but I didn't watch NXT UK as much as we should. There's a lot of good stuff over there, but I just, come on. We already have 35 hours to watch, right?
Yeah.
Raquel Gonzalez was supposed to fight Xia Li, and Boa comes out, and this is where I don't know what the Christ happened. Raquel beats the hell out of Boa. I love that, seeing how, much of a stud she is and what she can do, how she can handle people. What was the guy bringing a piece of paper and wiping dirt on his hand? What the hell was Mr. Miyagi doing there?
I was unclear. This was a point where I was kind of in and out of the room a little bit. Still, like, one of those situations like I'm doing dishes and like peeking my head in. Should have been enough to understand what the hell was going on. I didn't, though. I didn't quite grasp what was happening here.
No story to go with this. At least say, oh my God, that's Master Insert, Asian name. And I'm not saying it mean, but it's anything, because that's what they would do. Nothing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I was confused. I didn't get what the hell was going on.
Loop and stuff again together. Thatcher and Loomis are drawing pictures backstage, and then they end up having a match. This was a physical match.
Loomis can really draw. Holy cow.
He can. Holy moly. I wonder real.
Yeah, well, we only saw him putting the little details in.
Right.
At one point there. Yeah, but...
Details always happen last.
Yeah. So he'd probably been working on that for a little while, and now was just putting the finishing touches on it. Physical match. I love Timothy Thatcher. I think when Dexter Loomis kind of first came around, or maybe when Timothy Thatcher first came around, I felt like they were kind of similar. Remember we talked about this?
Yeah,
I thought this was cool to see them in the ring. Good, solid mat wrestling, especially by Timothy Thatcher. This is my style. This more so than maybe any other match on this card.
Thatcher gets the win, and then Grimes comes out. Burlap sack. Why?
Yeah.
Why a burlap sack? Like that, you just wrestled a, 10, 15-minute match, sweaty. Burlap itches. You remember doing a sack race? And you weren't sweaty. Now you're sweaty, and you just have this burlap over your face. You know how burlap breaks up, and kind of you get those little pointy spots. Do something for your
sucks.
buddy. Do something. Yeah. Plastic, you'd kill him. Because the garbage bag saying itself, do not put over your head because you could die. It was breathable, at least, right?
Yeah. Was it feet on the ropes, by the way? Timothy Thatcher? It was a roll-up, but I'm remembering maybe his feet were on the ropes.
I thought so, yeah.
Yeah. Is it just me, or does Grimes kind of look like John Rocker? If you were to shave his beard.
Oh, my God.
He does. The smile and the bright blue eyes.
That's where he went.
Maybe, yeah.
And unaged, then.
Yeah.
John, unaged, is that right? You can say that. You know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Got younger.
Yeah.
He does look good, though, by the John Rocker. I've seen a picture of him recently. He's still in great shape.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. For those who don't know.
I hated him.
He was a pitcher for the Braves and the Indians and the Rangers. Had a slew of pitches he can throw in any count. Pounded the strike zone at all times. Aside from being a great pitcher, humanitarian.
Went to New York and he wasn't loved because he rode the subway.
Fought for causes, believed in equal rights for everybody. Just good, decent human being. If you don't know who he is, look him up.
Yeah, decent.
And then get back to us.
Decent human being. Him and MLK were hanging out together.
Oh.
Gargano says, hey, I'm trying to get this thrown out. There's no way it's going to stand. Whatever. Ciampa's promo was good. The Ripley EO package. Dude, we've seen that for like 3 weeks now. The same package.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the match, but God, stop already.
I'm with you. I am excited for the match, but we weren't told really much of anything new.
No. And then finally, you get the Breezango taking on the tag team champions. And, John, I know you love Breezango now. I saw the writing all over it when they came out and found out this was going to be a match at the end of the show, that this was Pat McAfee, and I know we both hate it, and his crew is the hottest thing right now on NXT, so to speak, or trying to be made the hottest thing until the Undisputed Era figures out what the hell's up with them and comes back and cleans house again. I believe that's all they're setting up for, another 3-on-3 match or something like that. So you're going to see McAfee and his group knocking heads and taking over for a while.
Yeah. I listened to McAfee as long as I could. I muted it at one point, but there was a point where he was saying, like, Breezango's running around the ring. I'm like, this guy's from Pittsburgh, or I'll eat my socks. So I get out my phone. I Google him. He's from Plum, PA. I just
Pittsburgh.
knew it. Yeah, he has a healthy Pittsburgh accent. I do like Breezango. I think they're a very good team. They remind me of Eaton and Lane of the Midnight Express. Kind of figured it was going to go this way. I didn't think they were going to get the belts back. Good match. Fine way to end the show. Nothing terribly exciting. I did enjoy the brawl afterwards. Everybody coming to everybody's defense. I like stuff like that. I like when an underdog is willing to jump three guys, like, Breeze was willing to do, and still get his ass beaten. So the brawl afterwards was good, and like you say, it did what it was supposed to do, and I can't stand McAfee. I absolutely can't stand that guy. He's so irritating.
So far this week, 3 for 3 on shows that pretty much just extended storylines. Nothing big, nothing bad.
If they even extended them, yeah. They reminded you of them, is pretty much it.
AEW, we get a couple new storylines, so let's go there.
Yeah, all right.
Team Taz starts the show. Brian Cage is going to fight. They see Darby sitting up in the second balcony of Darby's place or whatever. It warns him and Cody, and then we do get a match. But before we get there, John, WWE recently took everything from Sting off of, their website. No mentions of Sting anymore, this, that, and the other thing. Cody, we know, friends with Sting. They're hinting with the whole Darby thing. Does Sting make an appearance in AEW at some point, because they're just showing Darby in the upper deck a lot now, and that's what everybody's thinking. So I have to ask you, and this was going to be a big question for Chad as well, since he's painted as Sting in our logo.
That would be very cool. I think the time is right for it. Yeah, that kid is over. He's been, like I said, my son loves him because he rides his skateboard to the ring. And instead of just unlocking his car, why do that when you can smash out your windows with the skateboard, right?
At least it's a back window.
Yeah, and then he probably reaches around and pulls up the knob.
You don't want the wind. The wind.
Yeah. You want to control the wind up front. You put your window down or put it up. Yeah.
Right.
It would be cool if Sting connected with him. I think there'd be good chemistry between them.
As a mouthpiece, or maybe Sting doesn't even have to say anything either. Just kind of, I don't want to say tell your arm because they're very vocal, but just somebody that can kind of lead him. And I think it would be good. I really do. Keep him out of the ring, though. Keep him out of the ring.
Yeah. It's funny you said that because I was just about to say he's lost a lot of weight. He's not as, like when we met Ronnie Garvin, right? Back in the day, Ronnie Garvin was just a brick house. But when we met him, he was still in great shape, but had lost a lot of the muscle, just probably by choice. Sting has lost a lot of that muscle, but looks really good. So I bet you he could drop a scorpion death drop in a situation, come up from behind someone, pull their hair back, boom.
I'm all right with that.
Splash. Yeah, but don't put him in a 20-minute match. Yeah, certainly not.
Yeah. All right, we finally get Cage taking on Seidel. I don't know. I couldn't get with this match. I have some reference to Pat Lupino plays all the time. Taz is playing the whole getting no respect. He's getting no respect. So Pat Lupino's kind of playing the whole thing right now too, that he gets no respect in his house. So I think that that Cage must have called. Taz must have called Pat and got some pointers about how you play the whole Rodney Dangerfield thing up. Is what I'm trying to get to. These notes were from Wednesday night. I actually watched this live. So
yeah, I like this. I like Matt Seidel. He's been very good for TV matches where you need somebody to put up a fight and actually make you believe he's got a chance. I mean, did I think he was going to beat Brian Cage? There were a couple of moments where I was like, holy cow. Oh, no, he kicked out. I liked it. It's Brian Cage just beating on this guy and doing power moves and throwing him over his head, and Seidel working quickly and getting some near falls. Did what it was supposed to do. Taz on commentary is fun. There'll never be another Bobby Heenan. And I think Taz would tell you the same thing. But he reminded me of Bobby Heenan, like calling, a King Kong Bundy match or a Big John Studd match where their guy's in trouble and Heenan's getting genuinely worried. So Taz played that up. That was fun to listen to him try to call commentary, still go through the game plan to make you believe like they went through a plan, and then just get frustrated when things weren't working. So, I enjoyed this.
Next up, Cody comes out and he congratulates Darby, and him and Arn say they're not seeking a rematch at this time. He's moving on to something else, and he wants to take on MJF. And then all hell broke loose at my house. Jade, I don't know, Garthright or Gertner. I don't know who the hell this woman is that came out, and I'll let you run with it. Apparently, at 8:27 Wednesday night was the time that I had to learn about work and school. Both telling me at the same time, raising octaves as TikTok is playing on both of their phones as well. So I had no clue, but I did hear her say Shaq. And I didn't know if she said she just watched the movie Blue Chips or what. And that was it. I had to ask you what the hell was going on.
Well, even had you watched it, it still would have been somewhat unclear. She came out, first of all, she's shredded.
Brick shit house. Brick house brown.
Brickhouse, right. Yeah, she was in incredible shape. The biceps on this woman, yeah, phenomenal shape. And she's just kind of standing in the ring until Cody turns around and says, "Can I help you?" And she tells him, like, you think something, it was a dick joke. You think you're big, or you think you're a giant killer or something. Well, there ain't nothing giant about you. And the whole crowd, whoa! And then she said she had somebody for him, and then left the ring and said, "Oh, and if you're wondering who that giant is, I have for you, Shaq." But it wasn't fully enunciated. I don't know. The commentators, Ross and Excalibur and Shimon are like, "What, Shaq? Shaq? Did she say Shaq? Let me say Shaq 4 or 5 times so that the viewers know that that's who she said." Shaquille O'Neal? What is that? Who's
right?
Yeah, is that who's going to wrestle?
I don't know.
Cody Rhodes?
I don't know. Like,
yeah, I don't either.
I have no clue why. Where did this come from? We had a thing at the beginning of COVID when Mike Tyson was going to kind of have a feud with Jericho, and that kind of got eliminated because of COVID and everything, and it kind of got swung over into Orange Cassidy. But what's Shaq have to do with any of this?
The only thing I could say is,
and don't go down that path, AEW. You don't need this guy.
I know, but it's a Turner station, and it's always had a WCW feel to it. AEW has a bit of a WCW feel to it. Maybe they're going back to Karl Malone and Rodman, yeah. I don't know. I don't know if that's what they're doing or not.
Because that worked out well for WCW.
Right. Look where they are now. Brandy came out, though, and got in this woman's face and tore her a new asshole. Holy cow. You come up in here and you get in my man's face. Well, now you're my problem, bitch, and get your ass out of here. And referees had to come out and hold them apart. I love Brandy's spunk, and she's sticking up for her man. And, Scott Hall has said, if you're right, you can't lose, or something like that. When you're right, you can't lose. But that other lady was a big, strong lady, Brandy. So just be careful.
Back off.
Be careful. Yeah. Be careful where you pick fights.
Bunkhouse match. The Butcher and the Blade against the Natural Nightmares. John, belts, chairs, guitars, hay bales, bull ropes, ladders, handcuffs, garbage cans, lids, a spur, and blood. And why did they need to shorten Butcher to Butch? I didn't know for a while who the hell they were talking about. Just say the Butcher.
Yeah.
Butch. What? Who? Wait, who the hell is from the... What the hell do you call them? I'm doing this.
Bushwhackers.
Yeah, thank you. The Butcher. Yeah. Was he coming out? What's going on?
Butch Miller. Yeah.
We'll get to them too, actually. But man, all hell broke loose. This was a fight, and I liked this. I liked it for what it was. It was just two teams that hated each other that wanted to let it all hang out. I hated that it was about Allie and spending so much on QT's credit cards. I don't care. Just let them fight.
Yeah, you hate it, but you love it. It's one of those pro wrestling things that it's such a silly part of the story, but I love it too. And my son was eating it up. He's like, "Oh, she maxed out his credit card. He had like $5,000 on it. He spent the whole thing." I'm like, "Oh, really, buddy? Wow, I'd fight
you."
Yeah, and DDT me through 2 chairs if I maxed out your card. Who the hell wouldn't? Absolutely.
The Bulldog spot was kind of cheesy. I loved everything besides the Bulldog spot off of the stage through. John, it looked like one of your shop projects fell apart.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. But yeah, I did. I loved everything about this. Cowbell, the double team moves. This was a fight. I enjoyed the shit out of it. And the Natural Nightmares get the win.
Yeah. And Bunny does go through the table, by the way.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they set up a table and she got bumped off the apron. That table looked like if you'd have sneezed at it, it was going to break.
Yeah.
Yeah, she went through it.
Hardy talks about the respect he has for Sammy and how losing that match is going to make him a bigger star. All right.
Yeah.
Nothing. All right. What did you think about the 2020 Inner Circle introduction ceremony? They were playing it up like a Hall of Fame. MJF was tearing up. I loved it. He writes his own poetry. I know you're going to have a lot to say about this. They brought up Drake. Wow. Ortiz hates him, and now they're all going to Vegas. This is the stupid shtick, or however you want to say it, that I love. Man.
Yep.
And I thought this could have been a little bit longer.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd have been okay with that. Is this where Sammy came in and said, "You told me the beach" or something?
No, this was the next part.
Okay.
Yeah. He wasn't at the ceremony because they didn't know where the hell he was. The next promo, he comes in. Yeah.
I love that. I love the fact that he doesn't know where he has to be. And yeah, that's great stuff.
The Young Bucks interview say at some point they'll give FTR a rematch, but not right now. They're going to fight Top Flight next week, who, I don't know, it sounds like a generic pair of Reeboks or Adidas or, the Walmart, like Voight. We're going to fight Voight next week.
Like in 1989, if we didn't have the Nikes or Adidas, we'd have worn the Top Flight.
Yeah.
They apologized to the guy for kicking him in the face, the guy with the microphone.
Yeah, Marquez. They're doing right.
Yeah. They apologized about 4 or 5 times, kept bringing it up.
A match that I'm sure you love, Shawn Spears against Scorpio Sky. I love this match because he won with a loaded glove, and they hit it so good that I actually didn't see Telly get it at the end of the match.
Yeah, I like Scorpio Sky. I really do. I was a little confused because Tully, he handed
Spears.
Yeah, he handed Spears a glove, but then he handed something to Scorpio Sky, right?
Right.
Or made it look like he was trying to throw him something. And Scorpio Sky's like, "Wow, what's this about? What are you doing?" I would have rather the distraction happened in some other way, because for a second I thought Tully Blanchard was turning on Shawn Spears.
Right, and maybe that's a precursor.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. Scorpio Sky didn't know what to do with the foreign object. That is how squeaky clean this guy is.
Right. He just tossed it. He just tossed it away.
Yep.
This was a great match, though.
It was. Yeah, it was. They're both very talented. Scorpio Sky has a very, very bright future.
Yeah. Kenny Omega in the parking lot. He's coming. He never had a match against Moxley. First time they're ever going to meet is December. He doesn't seem like he wants the title. He'd rather just have the magazine covers and to be the number 1 ranking again. He said it seems like the title is not important to him. He just wants to beat Moxley to be number 1.
Yeah. So have they wrestled or haven't they? Because Moxley seemed to give the impression they've met in the past.
They did. They had last year's Full Gear. They had that unsanctioned match. Remember where he got put through that cobweb of barbed wire?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yes, of course. Yeah. Then that's what he's saying is we've never met really just in a one-on-one match. Right. Yes.
Right. So, just feeding more.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh my God, Ty Conte and Anna Jay against Red Velvet and Brandy. Maybe you can train with one of them. Which one? Red Velvet? No, Ty Conte is the one that does jiu-jitsu and all of the stuff that you do. Would you train with her?
Sure.
Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah, absolutely. Have you seen her?
I have.
Yeah.
I didn't know what the Christ was going on in this match from start to finish.
Yeah, why does Ty Conti always look so confused about what's going on?
No clue. Anna Jay wants her to be bad in the Dark Order with her. Red Velvet, by the way, did officially get signed to AEW. It was just released yesterday. So she's actually going to be around for a while. I just don't know. the match just ended wonky as well.
Yeah, and Ty Conti was in NXT for about 20 minutes, right?
Yeah.
She had a run-in in the back with Adam Cole over something. They crossed paths one time. And interestingly, JR said, I have been following this young lady for a few years, and I was particularly impressed with her in a women's tournament she was involved in a few years ago. Do you think he was referencing Mae Young?
I would bet. I would. Yeah.
That's the first thing that came to mind too. Boy, not good. I didn't know what the hell was going on here, really.
Yeah. Conte gets the win. Jay looks dissatisfied because she didn't use a chair. They hug. They, good game each other in the back of the ass and walk out. Yeah.
Brandy Rhodes just doesn't win.
No.
Her people don't win. I don't know.
Kingston comes out, gives us a spot on the mic about, he knows he quit, but this isn't the end of him. He's going to come back. He's going to be on commentary for this next match, and the next match is the main event, which is Phoenix against Pentagon. And you see Eddie just kind of stirring the pot on the mic the whole time for his best friend, Pentagon. And, John, for two brothers, this got really Mexican vicious hardcore.
It really did. Eddie Kingston showing that you can put him in any type of match with any stipulation, and he can lose and still save face enough to come out on TV on the next show like nothing happened. Just his saying, yeah, I lost. I said I quit. I'm not done yet. I'll be back. There's just something about him. You can't bury this guy. You just can't. He'll always be back. This was such a good match. I really liked it. It brought back memories of masked wrestlers. The first masked wrestler I can kind of remember seeing was the Masked Superstar, and how Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan in their matches would go after the Masked Superstar's mask. But not long after that, I went to, and I know I've told you this, I don't know if I've mentioned on the show, we took a family trip to Mexico. And wrestling was huge. This was 1985. Wrestling was huge there. And I'm watching it, and it was all about the mask. Every match, all about the mask. If you were a super baby face and the villains were tearing your mask off, the crowd, they couldn't stay in their seats. They wanted to jump the railing and kill these guys. If you were a bad guy and you were getting your masks ripped off, the fans love it. It blew the roof off the place. And one guy got his mask torn off, so his partner ran in the back to get their jackets and comes out with their jackets, which is cool because these are real people that wear jackets to the arena, and he's covering his head with the jacket, and then he gets his mask torn off, and now they can't see where they're going because they have jackets over their heads. Anyway, I bring all that up because I felt that again here. When they tore at each other's masks, I was like, oh my God, you can kind of see their faces.
Yeah. This match, the tournament match, did nothing for these two. It was a good match, but this match pushed their level. We've been huge fans of Phoenix and Pentagon. What the hell are they called? The Lucha Brothers. Since we saw them at WrestleRex a couple years ago, we loved them then. Now with the mainstream and everything, and I am a bigger Pentagon fan than Phoenix fan, so him just being a complete dick and douchebag during this match, I loved everything about this match compared to the other one.
Agreed. When Eddie Kingston came in the ring, it was like, yeah, good match, but meanwhile, like he's kicking Ray Phoenix out of the ring. I'm unclear as to what's going on. Like, are they dumping him, or is he just trying to show control over this group? I mean, I get that, like, he's Pentagon's best friend, but Ray Phoenix is his brother, right?
Right. I love both of your brothers.
Right.
You're my best friend.
Right.
I wouldn't, maybe Tony.
Yeah, like,
I might kick Tony once, but I wouldn't kick Dom.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. But then at the end, Pac makes his return and references that, they were all part of the Death Triangle or whatever. So I don't know where they're going with this. Is it going to be Pac against Kingston because he's taking his boys away from the Death Triangle? Or are you going to see Phoenix, go back and watch a tape and see him that Kingston kicked him out of the ring and he goes with Pac? Are we going to get tag teams fights with this? Or, there's going to be a hell of a feud. And as long as Kingston's doing the talking, I'm going to be doing the listening.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's well said. Lots of different directions this can take. And maybe that was the idea behind it, because you could do stuff, that's a little unclear, that kind of piques your curiosity, makes you want to tune back in. And you can do stuff that's unclear that just leaves you like, okay, let's just shuffle this, like the Conti match just before this.
Right. Exactly. So, that's pretty much all the wrestling we have covering for this week. Again, an okay week. I can't give it anything better than an okay week for wrestling.
Yeah, totally agree. Once again, it at best reminded us of what's going on. Didn't forward too many things. And in maybe a couple of instances, we saw something new, like that lady coming out and confronting Cody. But not a whole lot of new stuff. On WWE, you have potential angle with Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns. That was pretty interesting, but nothing really catapulted this week.
I should have asked you that during the WWE segment, actually. Would you rather see Roman against Drew at Survivor Series, or would you like to see Orton keep the title and take on Roman?
I would rather see Drew McIntyre. I know I've given him a lot of flack, and we have said maybe, the money's in the chase. I think he's better as a challenger. Lately, he has shown me something. Lately, he really has. And if you're going to say you have a choice between a really sluggish, methodical style against a really sluggish, methodical style, or the sluggish, methodical style against someone who's a little faster, a little snappier with his strikes, I'm going to choose the second one because they're two different styles. I think if you have Orton and Reigns at this point in their careers, it's going to be a 40-minute match, and a good 32 minutes of that is them, taking naps in the corners and with their pillows and their babas and their blankies.
I think that's what we're going to see. Drew McIntyre will not.
I think so too.
Drew McIntyre will not be left off of the Survivor Series card. He's not going to be on a team. He's not going to do anything. He's just going to show up, I think, in the ring and Claymore, both of them. But that's for predictions next week, right?
Okay. Yeah. I know they'll never unify championships, but
not on different brands. Not on different channels.
Then what's the point? Well, what is even the point?
Right. I know. Of
these title versus title matches. Yeah, anyway.
Chad's not here, so let's decide right now. John, do you want to do... I want to do one of the first 3 Survivor Series as they go back and watch along.
Oh, okay.
Because next week we have to do Survivor Series picks for the pay-per-view because it happened Sunday. So why don't we do an old Survivor Series with actually matches that we like? Do you want to just tease with one of the 3, or do you have one out of the first 3 that you really like?
The first 3 were probably, for me, the best 3.
Right, that's why I picked those.
Let's go with, how about 88? Because Anderson and Blanchard were brand new to the WWF.
Okay. All right.
And were put on, how they did, obviously they did the 5 versus 5. But then because there were so many teams, they would do 5 teams versus 5 teams. So it was a 20-man tag team match.
Right.
That's how many teams they had back then, man.
All right.
And Anderson and Blanchard were feuding with the Rockers, and it was just brilliant stuff.
All right, 88. That's what we're going to do next week.
Yep.
We'll inform Chad. We'll do the watch-along next week of Survivor Series 88, and then we'll also do our Survivor Series 2020 picks, which... will be enthralling. But we'll take a break right now. We'll come back. I got some stuff in the mail, and I am, well, if you saw the thumbnail, you know some of it. Man, I can't wait to talk about this stuff here on the podcast. And I know John's got something to bring to the table, too. I'm really excited. So we'll take a break real quick, and then we'll be back.
Hey, this is Jumpin' Jim Brunzell, and my favorite podcast is Can Crushers. it should be yours too.
Welcome back to Can Crushers. It is I, the English Professor, and we're going to cut to the chase here because Mark is shaking. He's so excited. Mark,
this is awesome.
What'd you get in the mail?
I got this in the mail. You guys know that we are the only podcast in the Pro Wrestling Encyclopedia, the comic book Pro Wrestling Encyclopedia. Let me butcher that. Thanks. Trying to do good things for Squared Circle Comics, and I'm being a complete jackass over it. But this is how excited I am about this. In the mail from our guys, John Crowler and Kevin Laporte, we got I guess it's the year box that for 2020 and 2021, every comic that we're going to get is going in this box. So besides that, there's stuff in it, and I'll tell you about it. But I'm showing John right now, and the artwork on this is actually, if you see the thumbnail, you see the artwork on it. The Killer Bees is on it, Gangrel, the Rock and Roll Express, Bruno Sammartino, the California Girl, yeah. Oh, God, we got number 6, by the way. I didn't even know this. They're actually signed. Amanda Rachels, who is one of the artists, and Kevin Laporte signed this. We got number 6, so that's pretty awesome. I'm actually finally looking at this. And once you get all these comics, you put them in here, and they stay safe, okay? And, John, the artwork, amazing.
It really is. Absolutely, yeah.
So you open it up then, and inside, Gangrel is jumping out at you, and then you shuffle to the bottom because there's stuff in it, and underneath it is Robert Gibson, and it kind of looks like Gangrel and Robert Gibson are in the ring together. It's phenomenal. First of all, the artwork is phenomenal. So inside of this now, you get a Gangrel, magnet that can go on the fridge, hold up some notes or whatever. By the way, guys, the Kickstarter I believe, this is how bad I am, I believe it starts tonight. If you want to help these guys out, get involved with these guys, you can go on Patreon, sign up. If you can donate something, that's really cool. But the Kickstarter for his comic is coming out, that you get all these special promotions. Really check them out. You get the Killer Bees number 3. So you get that awesome comic book, which we are in. I really have, with the week that I've had, guys, I haven't flipped through these. I'm not going to say, oh, we're on page 36. I don't know. We're in this somewhere. I know that for a fact. So you go through, you read the comic book about the Killer Bees. You've heard some of these stories because if you read the comic book encyclopedia, you heard some of the stories that they were going to talk about when we interviewed them for our podcast. So you have that comic book, number 3 in the series. And then, again, you have the Rock and Roll Express, issue number 1, signed by Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson, their comic. And it's in there, guys. You see them, I believe I flipped to a page where they're fighting the Koloffs, or, it's just, it's amazing. It really is. The artwork is unbelievable. I'm pumped to be involved with Squared Circle Comics and everything they do. I know I have dropped the ball. We need to talk about these guys some more, promote them some more, because first of all, I got an autographed fucking comic by the Rock and Roll Express. My favorite tag team. The Killer Bees, kind of like another top 5 tag team that we talked to both of them. And I'm just, the artwork of the box, man. That's what the thumbnail is when you guys see it. This is unbelievable stuff. And I heard about it was coming, and again, this week was just kind of shoddy for me, as you guys know. I forgot about it. So when the postman dropped off a big box, and my wife's like, what did you order? And I'm like, I don't remember what I did yesterday this week. I don't know. I opened it up, and it kind of gave me a little pep in the step. And I was so excited, man. This stuff is unbelievable. It really is. I can't wait to stick all my comics in there from them. So, guys, head over to Squared Circle Comics. They're on Facebook. They're on Instagram. You can find them on Patreon, too. If you have anything to donate to help them as much as you can, cool. Or just buy the comics. John can speak of the encyclopedia and how freaking amazing it is.
It really is. As a matter of fact, my son was reading it the other day, and he was sending me pictures that he was taking with his phone while I was at work, and he marked out when he saw our picture in there, Mark.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
And really, the stories that they tell. I've said this before. I don't know that skeptical is the right word, but I just wondered how good could a wrestling comic book be? It's amazing. It really is. It brings these stories to life. If you love wrestling, if you love comic books, holy cow, is this the best of both worlds?
It really is. It really, and talking to these guys, I was never a big comic like you, John, growing up. You were the Batman and all those ones back in the day. But talking to these guys, you guys heard a month ago or so, I went to a local store and I bought as many as they had of the WWEF eras and everything. So I'm kind of, the comic book hits me. That's what I can read. You know, maybe that's my reading level, but it keeps me occupied. It's enough. It tells the whole story. It's enthralling. It's engaging. You don't know the twists and the turns of the next page being turned. Man, I love it. I would take a comic book over an autobiography any day. I'm a child.
I do love comic books too, though. I love autobiographies too.
You love.
You don't have to choose.
Okay,
yeah, you don't have to choose.
I don't have to choose. So yeah, again, Squared Circle Comics, guys, help them out as much as you can. Buy stuff from them. You'll love it. If you're a wrestling fan and you like looking at cartoons, whew, yeah. All right, you got something. You got a little a twist for us, huh?
Yeah, I've been thinking of a new segment, and I don't know if this is something we do weekly or what, but I ran this past you a while back.
And I forgot about it.
Yeah, well, no, we've talked about it, and but it's all right. It's here now. We've lost a few wrestlers this year. Tracy Smothers most recently, Kamala earlier in the year. Beyond that, it's been a trying year, to say the least, and we're trying to choose kindness. So I thought of a concept called "Love 'em while we have 'em." And I thought of calling it "Love 'em while we got 'em" because it sounds more colloquial, but I just couldn't bring myself to say "got" when the proper verb should be "have." So we're going with "Love 'em while we have 'em."
Until I mess it up.
Right, until you mess it up, yeah. And all that is I will throw out a name, and maybe we mix it up from week to week and somebody else brings a different name, or if it's my segment, you want me to bring the name. But I wanted to make sure I had a few in the hopper. And we're going to say nice things about this person. And it may be difficult to do. But we want to praise this person for what they've done for professional wrestling while they're still here to maybe hear it. So,
wow, are you starting with this one right off the bat? Now I remember where we're going. Wow, oh, go ahead.
Without further ado, we referenced him earlier in the show, and I said it's funny you're mentioning his name because we're going to talk about him again later. Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Let's love him while we have him. Mark, do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
I'll go first because I'll keep it shorter, and then I'll let you run with it. Love him while we got him. Okay? See how fast that turns? Boom. Instantly. Love him while we have him. Vince McMahon. I have to go back to when he... And I'm not going to look at the stuff that might be shady. Because without Vince McMahon, there's no Can Crushers. Okay? Let's just throw that out there. Because he is where... Yeah, I was a big NWA fan, but growing up, the characters got me. They really, even as much as I rip on the Red Rooster and I hate him, or Aldo Montoya or something like that, that's all part of my wrestling history. That's all. I love to hate those people. We can't say anything bad, right? We can't say anything bad.
Try not to.
Okay. I'm just making sure. So without those people being in the mix of where wrestling is now, wrestling wouldn't be where it is now. Have it be anything. So Vince Vince McMahon, I will say thank you for getting wrestling over the top. Have it be away from the territories where it wasn't as mainstream. He brought it mainstream. So without Vince doing what he did, there isn't so many other wrestling organizations that we love today.
It's well said. Dusty Rhodes said the wrestling fan knew the NWA. The whole world knew the WWF. And that's perfectly said. And there's really one reason behind that. And it was Vincent K. McMahon's vision. You know, you mentioned just some tough to swallow pills there, like the Red Rooster and Aldo Montoya. But the guy took risks. Vince McMahon took risks. And, you know, he had the fans in mind. I'm sure he had the bottom line, the finances in mind as well. The guy's trying to make a buck. He was a businessman. But for all the reasons you said, he wrote the sort of the biography of my childhood, if you will, without even knowing me. Because my childhood, a big part of it was spent with you, with other friends on the street, you know, playing wrestling or in the house watching wrestling. And the reason we did that was because Vince had the guts to bring this product to people everywhere, not just in the Northeast region where his father kind of kept things, but to people everywhere. One of the first people to answer the call of the need for action figures. I mean, we were dying for this stuff as kids. Vern Gagne tried it, and they were essentially He-Man figures with wrestlers' names. It's kind of all they were. Vince made these larger-than-life characters into 8.5-inch dolls that could really take a beating. Because he knew we just wanted to, like, bang stuff and break stuff when we were kids. So, again, for all the reasons you said, Mark, without him, a lot of us aren't doing what we're doing. So, thank you, Mr. McMahon, and cheers to being here.
Cheers to being here, Vince. I like that. Short and sweet. It really is. It's just a short and sweet segment, and I think we can do something each week. You pull one out again next week. Okay, right. We'll throw it past Chad, and maybe we'll let Chad. It's going to be rough with him keeping kind words sometimes, but we're going to make him say something nice about Vince next week prior to you unleashing who you have, and then I think we all take a shot at somebody that, of course, the whole gist of this is that they're still here and they get praise.
Yep, for the good they've done. And I had Vince planned for the first one. And then when you texted me and said, hey, I don't think Chad's going to be with us tonight, I asked you, do we still do this or do you want to save this for another time? He said, no, let's do it. And I thought, that's probably a good idea because I think Chad would be spitting venom trying to say something nice about Vince McMahon. But, hey, he's also a child of God, and he's imperfect, just as we all are. But he's done some good things that we've enjoyed.
Well said. Well said. So, all right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this week. A little bit shorter than normal, but that's because wrestling was a little bit okay. That's about
Pretty
it.
much.
Yeah.
Yep.
Next week, watch along. Along with our weekly stuff, we'll blow through that. We'll do a watch along of Survivor. I almost said SummerSlam. Survivor Series 1988. I'm excited to watch this. I'm probably going to watch it tomorrow. I really am. I got nothing to do for another week. So it's not like I can, don't have time. I can watch all 35 hours of wrestling this week without a problem.
It would be a great way to spend the day, to watch Survivor Series 88.
Maybe I'll play it loud enough that the wife and child can hear it as well.
And don't forget, we have an Ask Can Crushers coming up. We don't know exactly when. We haven't pinpointed a date yet, but that is in the very near future, so keep listening for that.
Yeah, well, with the watch-along next week and then Survivor Series to recap the week after, so legit 3 weeks from now. So that would be, do you have a calendar in front of you, sir?
I do. So today is Sunday, the 15th, the 29th.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
So get your questions in. We'll stop taking questions probably like the 26th so I can have them all written down and everything and passed along for everybody. The 26th is Thanksgiving, by the way.
It is. I was just going to say it's Thanksgiving, yeah.
So how about the 27th? So, yeah, whatever.
All right, yeah.
So give everybody the 27th to get them in, and then get them all sorted away and everything. And then you can send those to cancrusher69@gmail.com, or you could send them via direct messages on any one of our social media pages, which is Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. And they're all at cancrusher69. Go out there and find it. Boom. Send them that way. We love the show. We really do. We actually skimp over wrestling for the week real quick and then delegate most of the show to Ask Can Crushers because there's some great questions. Guys, Can Crusher Nation brings it to us when they bring these, and I love them.
They really do. They are a lot of fun. We get questions from fans, listeners, people in the business. It's a blast.
So, guys, you can find us iHeartRadio, Buzzsprout, Stitcher, Alexa, any place that podcasts are found. Type in Can't Crushers Wrestling Podcast. We'll pop up. And hopefully here in the near future, you know, we do have a website. It's been pretty much stagnant since March because, you know, normally we put up where we're going and what's going on and everything, but it's kind of just been chilling, so maybe that's something I can work on this week to spruce it up and get everything going again. But we're there. That's on Buzzsprout. That all our shows are linked to it. But like if you go to iHeartRadio or Spotify, they're all linked there as well too. So I love it. I love everything you guys do for us here at Can Crushers, and I'm sure John and Chad would echo that.
Absolutely.
So John, just remember. Just because you're trash,
it doesn't mean you can't do great things. It's called a garbage can, not a garbage cannot.